Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the July 20, 2026 regular meeting of the Village Board of East Aurora. For all of those who are able and willing, please stand for the pledge of the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Trustee Lizikis.
Here.
Trustee Cameron.
Here.
Trustee Bojanowski.
Here.
Trustee Camp.
Here.
Trustee Vijay.
Here.
Trustee Root. Here. Mayor Wachinski.
Here.
7 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. At this point, we're going to open up public hearings. Just a brief explanation. What we'll do here, we have 3 public hearings on specific topics. Then we will open up speakers and communications for anyone to comment on agenda items. Assuming that we're going to have a lot of people speaking about stop signs, we'll first open it up to agenda items that are not related to stop signs, and then we will open it up for Center and South, and then we will open it up for Payne and Girard. But first, we will go with a special use permit application for the bank at EA at 649 Main Street to provide restaurant services when there is no venue booked. We will be limiting this to 3 minutes per speaker, but before I open the public hearing, we'll hear from you, and then we'll go into the public hearing where the 3-minute restriction will apply.
Thank you.
These are the applicants, so that's why we'll give more time to you.
Yep, we're not going to take more than 3 minutes. Peter Sorgi, project attorney for Counter Development.
Dan Garvey, Director of Hospitality for Counter Development.
So we're looking to use the bank, which is currently an event venue, typically for weddings, for a restaurant. One clarification real quick, it could potentially be used for an event, a smaller event and a restaurant at the same time. So it's not, it's not one or the other. So potentially that could happen, but on a typical event like a wedding, there'll be no restaurant service. So there's no exterior changes to the building whatsoever. We've submitted everything that's required. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. And the last thing I just want to say is the Planning Commission did recommend in favor unanimously to approve this. So we can answer any questions you may have.
I think we'll get to questions when we get to that item in the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll open the public hearing on this item, item A, at 7:03. Anybody in the audience who would like to speak on this item, please come forward to the microphone. Seeing no one, we'll close this public hearing at 7:03. Next is a public hearing to consider a permit for keeping other than household pets, 6 chickens at 181 Sycamore Street, Colleen, Raleigh. Open that at 7:03. Anyone who has any comments about the chickens at 181 Sycamore Street, please come forward to the microphone. And I thought everyone was here for chickens, but I guess not. Closing that public hearing at 7:04. Opening up a public hearing to consider the cable franchise agreement between Spectrum Northeast LLC and the Village of East Aurora. Opening the public hearing at 7:04. Anyone who'd like to speak on this item on the agenda, please come forward. Seeing no one, we'll close that public hearing at 7:05. Next up, speakers and communications. Anyone who'd like to come forward and speak on any item on the agenda other than official considerations B and C regarding all-way stop sign proposals at the corner of Center and South Street and Pine and Girard Ave, please come forward and give your thoughts and comments. And folders.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jared Lusk with Nixon
If you
Peabody.
just speak in the microphone because it's online as well, thank you.
It's Jared Lusk with Nixon Peabody representing Verizon. I'm here briefly because there are 3 matters on the application. We actually applied for 4 microcells. The other one is at 268 Main Street, and that is a microcell planned to be installed on the roof of the medical building at the corner of that. There's apparently an issue for consideration because the project is located the building is located in the 100-year floodplain, that application wasn't deemed complete to send to the planning board. The antenna is installed to be on the roof of the building, and there's a cabinet that's located on the side of the building. Again, I don't believe that I believe it's in the 100-year floodplain. I don't believe the flood's going to impact. If it's going to impact the building, it's going to impact the microcell and vice versa. Just a request to see if we could somehow keep the 4th application moving to, as you refer to the planning board, given the unique circumstances of the antenna on the roof of the existing building being in the 100-year floodplain. Is there a way we could keep those moving together rather than keep it separated, given the unique nature of the project? Just for efficiency for all that you're there. So that was my request. I know I spoke to Mr. Megan. He was going to look into it. I never heard back.
Thank you. Yeah, we don't respond to public
Okay,
comments.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on any issue on the agenda, other than those 2 that I had mentioned? If not, then let's open it up for any comments on the item B, under official considerations, permission for the mayor to sign a permit with Erie County DPW to install an all-way stop at the corner of Center and South Street. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. State your name and address before speaking, if comfortable to do so. Center and South.
Philip Payne. I live at 365 Center Street, so just sort of catty-corner to the intersection. And I want to say that I strongly support putting a stop sign in there. We lived there since 2003, and there's always a traffic issue there. People drive very fast down Center Street, and I think a stop sign would be helpful. So,
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Erin Redding, 533 Prospect Avenue, and I'm also in favor of this stop sign. I think that it helps our children be able to cross the street and navigate the village when there are more stops for vehicles. Thanks.
Thank you. I also have one email that we received from owners of properties at 1110 Underhill Road and 1085 Underhill Road. That is Jason and April Rudnicki. We are writing to respectfully express our opposition to the proposed installation of additional stop signs at the intersections of Center Road and South Road and Girard Road and Pine Street. We own, as frequent users of these intersections, we appreciate the town's commitment to public safety, but we do not believe additional stop signs are the most effective or appropriate solution. Traffic engineering research has consistently shown that stop signs should be installed only where they are warranted by factors such as traffic volumes, crash history, or limited visibility, not as a primary means of controlling vehicle speeds. When stop signs are placed where drivers do not perceive a clear need to stop, compliance often decreases, resulting in rolling stops, inconsistent driver behavior, and reduced respect for traffic control devices throughout the community. The proposed stop sign at Girard and Pine are particularly concerning because this is not a conventional four-way intersection. The roads converge at offset angles, creating an intersection that already requires additional driver attention. Introducing more stop signs into this irregular layout could increase confusion regarding right-of-way and lead to hesitation or unpredictable movements. Additionally, traffic entering from Lawrence Street already relies on available gaps in traffic. Requiring additional vehicles to stop and restart at nearby approaches could create unnecessary backups and make it more difficult for Lawrence Street traffic to merge efficiently and safely. There are some recommendations as to what the town should do to reduce traffic. A question, has the board conducted a formal traffic engineering study on these two intersections? Such decisions should be based on objective evidence to ensure that any changes truly improve safety and are in the best interests of the community. And then they are out of town, and thank you for considering these comments. So, anyone else on Center and South?
Penny Messinger, also live at 365 Center Street. We've lived there since 2003. Traffic has become much, much more voluminous since that point. I think it's really important to think about this as part of a systemic thing. There's a lot of traffic that comes from Mill and then cuts over on Beach and then comes up Center. I think partly that's avoiding the intersection with Main Street or Quaker and Mill. But it's not a safe intersection. There have been accidents with bicycles. I know that from the traffic study, what I understand is that recommendation is to put in a stop sign at that intersection, and I strongly support that.
Thank you. Any other comments? With that, we'll open up for any comments on item C under official considerations. Permission for the mayor to sign a permit with Erie County DPW to install an all-way stop at the corner of Pine and Girard Ave. Please keep your comments to under 3 minutes, and
I'll try. Michelle Parrish, 854 Lawrence Avenue. I've been there almost 43 years, and the traffic has grown exponentially. That's unbelievable. But anyway, I don't even know how much I trust traffic studies because I look at Tim Hortons, and it's a mess down there, and I'll bet 95% guaranteed that Dan, when he was here, is going to address that area on the road because it's a mess. Well, that had a traffic study. I'm inviting any of you to come spend a week with me at my house. I have 3 empty bedrooms. You are welcome to stay, and I want you to drive off of Lawrence 2 times a day for 7 days. That's a traffic study. To put a stop sign, I drew a crazy picture. It's not great, but it's simple. So this is me. Do you guys want to look at this? I can get legally. So this is me sitting here. This is Lawrence. Here's 2 cars sitting here. Who's making any kind of eye contact at all? There's none. 4-way stops, you make eye contact, you wave each other on, you look at each other. There is no eye contact. They want to put another stop here. That's the hill. This is all hill. I know they talked about putting something here. Erie County did a study, I think, and they said something about this hill here, which is true. From here, it's tough to see traffic coming. You have to pull out really far. I noticed, too, here on Old Pine, I probably was 4 to 5 feet past the stop sign before I could see clearly down Porterville to see if any cars were coming. Stop sign's got to be moved up as far as I'm concerned, but that's another issue. But this is crazy. I don't see how this could possibly work. Joe, I talked to him, he lives on the corner, he said, we just have traffic backed up, we'd never get out of here. It's hard enough to get out of there. If I pull out, we got a car stopped here, we got a stop here, I got to pull out, I've got to go in this lane to go around these cars, because it's my turn to go around here, and the minute I straighten out, I got a driveway here, which I did not put in, but this is one of the new houses with their little driveway right there. So I'm zipping out because I got a hill here, and I got a corner here. Now I got to go in this lane to go around these cars because it's my turn to go in a 4-way. Come around the corner and guy's backing out of his driveway. It's a mess. It's a mess. A stop sign there is not going to help us at all. Joe suggested speed bumps, one before the curve, one after the curve. That really would slow traffic down, and you can try it because they have those that are, you can move them, right? Don't they have, you can move them, they're heavy rubber.
15 seconds.
Oh, that's true too. Well, that's about it. I can leave this with you to look at it, but I'm telling you, a stop sign to me is a nightmare, my opinion.
Okay, thank you. I do have to say that I was just made fun of for my whiteboard drawing, and you coming forward with that one so professionally drawn is not going to help my case.
That's when the county will come back.
So that's what time.
This is the same we talked about.
Oh, I know.
I'm borrowing her sign.
But yeah,
Steve Davis, 184 Pine Street, so I'm right at the corner, right here. So just a couple things. First of all, thanks to, I can't remember who you said wrote the letter in, but that person actually spoke a lot of what I would want to say. So I'll just ad lib off of that, but I can't remember who you said wrote that in, but that's very well said. I just want to make sure we clear facts before we kind of take opinions from people in the community or perceptions from people in the community in terms of the speed and the volume. Because I feel like that hasn't been presented in terms of what the actual facts are of the speed and everything. And I also want to make sure that we clear problem statements before we just start pushing out solutions, right? There's perception is a speed problem, but there's also a crosswalk problem. Those are two different problems. But my main concerns are the offset intersection for the stop sign, which for exactly what she just said, ditto. And also, for my house, which, is right here, I'm not even going to be able to get out of my driveway with the traffic coming into the village. That's going to back up, and as she mentioned, is going to be a mess. So I think there's more to investigate in terms of alternative methods before we just default to a stop sign. And there's more work to be done to do more brainstorming. Speed bumps. My 6-year-old said speed bump. Dad, tell him speed bump. So there's an option, but there's just more to think about. And I was thinking about the Walnut Main intersection where, there's traffic there, but there's a way for people to cross the street. So this is kind of a secondary problem, but there's people with strollers who come in front of my house and cross Pine from my driveway, which is I'm shivering watching them cross, right? So my sidewalk was removed as part of the reconstruction, so it's kind of odd now because now people come from Lawrence and then cross Pine on my driveway. So there's a few things to consider more than just speed volume and just be talking about whether it's a binary decision of a stop sign. There's more to investigate. Thank you for your time.
We don't comment, but just, we have spoken about, we received your email about the sidewalk issue and we'll be reaching out. It's on our list.
Sure. Yeah, thanks.
I'll come up. I have better diagrams than anybody that wants to look at the intersection and show where you live. I'll leave these for the board. My name is Jerry Thompson. You've heard from me before talk about Pine Street. I live at 162 Pine. That is the house that sits up on the hill and directly overlooks Center. Initially, I want to make sure I don't forget this for the record. I'm submitting a letter suggesting that the 2 additional stop signs as proposed with the permit will create a dangerous situation at Pine, and more study needs to be done. Secondarily, entering stop signs should fall under a public hearing. I do not believe I received any mailing notice for a public hearing. So this is the first beginning, and I'm not trying to start it in a negative way, but I want whoever accepts that. Now, this is a problem that I empathize with you as a board. And I do it for very strong knowledge that what we do here, and can everybody hear me okay? I'm pretty loud, is dependent on approval from the county. If you drive in, as I listen to all my neighbors talk about their traffic concerns, there seems to be a concern about the speed in which people take the corner from Porterville to Pine. There seems to be a concern about drivers as they accelerate up Pine. And as they get closer to Warren, I have neighbors up on Warren that often say, I hear cars revving, children can't cross the street, they're accelerating too quickly at that point. So if we speed trap here or something, we may be missing the guys up the street that are going past. A stop sign proposal as it lays out, putting stop signs here and here, this stop sign to that corner measures from here to here in the middle of the road, 71 feet. There's 2 cars stacking. Coming around this corner at 35 to 30 miles an hour, which would not be ticketed, you could be stacked where you have to stop within less than 150 feet. Furthermore, the people coming off of Lawrence will be T-boned. Now when they come off of Lawrence, and I hear my neighbors in Lawrence saying, I come off of Lawrence, somebody's coming quick, I pull out 1 driveway, 1.5 driveways up. Somebody comes out quick, I have an out. It may not be the best out, but I can hit the accelerator. You put somebody at that stop sign, You come out around that corner, you can't hit the accelerator to get out. Now, there are easy things that we can do to start to fix this. The town of Aurora, just like they did on Schneider, could petition to lower the speed limit on Porterville from Girdle Road to the corner to 30 miles an hour right away. You could do that. You've got a permit in your hand right now that one of the conditions is a crosswalk. Take the one condition, put the crosswalk in. Then, I think, on my second diagram, I've kind of laid out,
30 seconds.
you know, I live here. I've laid out all sorts of stuff. Now, some of this is going to be dependent on the county. We should have around that corner some speed control, median, something to slow it down. By the way, the property here is owned by Fisher Price. If you took a couple feet, ingress and egress would not be impacted. Ingress and egress would not be impacted. But I strongly oppose the stop signs. I've given you my objections based on dangerous concern. I also don't want to be thought of not in favor of speed control. I'm 100% in favor of speed control. Stop signs are not speed control. It's not the solution.
Thank you.
And I'll leave the diagrams in case anybody wants to use them, and you guys, if you want to keep them, you can. If not, I'll take them at the end. Okay?
Susie Jackson, 1257 Warren Drive. We've lived on Warren Drive for almost 33 years, raised 4 kids, cross Warren Drive on a daily basis, or Pine Street, walk up Warren to Pine. We would cross it on a daily basis with a stroller with 3 kids in it and one on a bike or whatever. Never had a problem crossing Pine. If a car's coming, you wait. I think, you could have a crosswalk or something. I don't think you need to add stop signs along Pine. I agree with Jerry that stop signs don't really do the job that I think you're looking to do. I also really feel that the stop sign as proposed at Girard and Pine, for all the reasons that Jerry stated and others, is truly dangerous. I think the main problem, as Jerry said, is the traffic coming from Porterville. So that stop sign is not going to mitigate that issue. Somebody said maybe put up rumble strips to let people know that, maybe a flashing light farther down Porterville to say curve up ahead, pedestrian crossing, something like that. I think that type of idea would go a lot farther in mitigating the problem. I think, as Mrs. Parrish said, trying to get out of Lawrence with a stop sign there is a terrible idea. If you're going to put a crosswalk, put it on Pine and Girard on the south side of Girard so that it's farther away from that curve so that you give people a better chance of crossing. But as I said, 33 years, I have never had a problem crossing Pine Street, and to this day, I still don't have a problem. If a car's coming, you just wait for the car to pass. And Pine Street is one of the main ingress into the village. Somebody said it's not nearly as busy as Maple Center, 20A, but it does get some traffic. It gets truck traffic, but that's the problem with, it's not a problem with Pine, it's just the way it is. It's just the way our village is structured. You're going to have roads that get busier traffic. But so please do not put a stop sign there. I think we're in for a lot more problems if we do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lynn Camara. I live at 170 Pine Street, which is exactly on the corner of Pine and Lawrence. And I agree with all of us here talking about that something has to be done about the speed of the cars coming in from Porterville. That's where the real problem is. And I like to applaud all of you. We have been in this community asking for some sort of traffic control for that intersection for years. So I applaud all of you for the fact that you're taking this seriously. And I don't have a strong opinion about the stop signs or whatever kind of traffic control is warranted for that site. I I appreciate the fact that you're going to do something for the safety of all of us. The curve from the angle where I walk from Pine toward Porterville, since they took the sidewalk out and didn't replace it, you have to walk across the neighbor's lawn to get to the curb because you cannot see, especially in the summer, it's really bad because there's so much foliage and it is up a hill, as someone mentioned. But I just want to say whatever you all decide you think is best after all the input, I am thankful. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you take the time now to read a couple, oh, go ahead, yep. We're not closing it, just got some emails.
Hi, my name is Rose Cullamile. I live at 240 Pine, and I've been in the community for 12 years. Myself and my family, we walk frequently up Pine Street Extension to Porterville, and then we proceed south into the village on a daily basis, plus we travel extensively. I'm going to borrow this ginormous poster here that everybody can see. So we're on Pine Extension. Joanne Ryan's house is here. We're 2 doors down. Every day we're walking, trying to come up the village. There is no safe place to cross. We use the neighbor's, oftentimes his driveway or his yard to have to cross. I also frequently come north on Pine Street to go home. I have to make a left onto Pine Extension. The police officers are there every day driving to and fro. The town trucks come to and fro. And it is an issue. It's a safety issue. The other day, coming home from work, I'm making a left onto my street. I'm almost rear-ended by a car flying about 30, 35 miles an hour down Pine. I had to hit my brakes multiple times. He almost hit me. It's on a daily basis. It's a huge issue. If there is a stop sign at Girard and Pine, I'll be able to cross the street. The other day, there was a woman with kids on little bikes. They had no place to safely cross. I stopped my car. I waved them on. I mean, somebody's going to get injured, and I do feel it's a safety issue. I know you guys have been put on notice about this previously in the past. So I would appreciate some measures. I think we do need a stop sign. Also, I think we need increased police enforcement. People roll through stop signs in the village constantly. It's just like they're not even there. Some education for the public also is important. But I also feel that you need to really, slow down traffic, and there needs to be a safe place so I can cross. Should not have to go onto my neighbor's lawn to cross the street. That does not make sense. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
I'm going to read a few comments here from Caitlin Ullery, residing at 172 Stone Ridge Court. I'm reaching out to comment on the four-way stop proposed at Pine Street, Girard, and Lawrence, as I'm unable to attend the meeting Monday evening. Living directly off of Warren, I drive and walk this area frequently and have significant concerns about this proposal. I believe the erection of these two new stop signs will actually lead to a more dangerous situation. The turn onto Pine from Porterville is a blind turn, and I foresee a big risk of people not stopping and leading to rear-end accidents as well as T-bone accidents. Particularly in the winter, I fear people will not have the time to stop or react. Additionally, the way the streets are set up, they are not actually aligned for a four-way stop. I walk my children frequently from Warren to Pine, and although I think a speed adjustment at the start of Pine would be appropriate and possibly a crosswalk at Warren, I believe this proposal will have dangerous repercussions. I urge you to reconsider. Mr. Thompson, I have thoughts from you, but I won't read that because you came forward wherever you are. From Joanne and Peter Ryan. Peter and I are both out of town and will not be able to attend Monday's meeting. We strongly recommend that the village places an all-way stop at Girard and Pine Street. We also recommend that the village and Erie County place an oblong circle at Porterville, Pine Street, and Pine Street Extension. Our last recommendation is of a crosswalk at Warren and Pine Street. Thank you all for your help on making Pine Street safer for all pedestrians. Shelby Deck and Tim Vukolich, 299 Pine Street. After years of stagnation, double talk, and kick-the-can project management regarding pedestrian safety on Pine Street, it is a surreal experience to now be writing a letter in support of Erie County's recommended stop signs at Pine and Girard Streets. Having lived in the Pine Street extension for almost 25 years, we have had a front row seat to the transformation of what was once a very quiet, hardly traveled section into a highway of truck traffic and speeding cars. Crossing a street with a baby stroller, your dog, your friends out on a walk, your kids on their bikes, and sometimes all of that at once should not require a game of chicken for our village residents. but sadly, this has been the accepted way to navigate Pine to get from one side of the village to the other. Take your life in your hands, look both ways, dash across the road, and hope. While this letter is in support of the county's recommendation for stops at Pine and Girard, is this a perfect solution? No. Unfortunately, the study was unable to factor in cars from the now 3 new residential driveways currently under construction on Girard, as well as the 2 commercial driveways from the currently dormant Fisher-Price property with a 40-plus car parking surface that exit onto both Girard and Pine. For all of our neighbors on Lawrence Ave, even with the new stops, getting to Girard will still be very, very tricky to pull off. That Fisher-Price property will be sold one day soon, dumping more cars into this really tricky intersection. We will have to revisit all of this in the future. However, let's not let perfect be the enemy of the good. For overdue pedestrian safety on Pine Street, these stop signs with robust crosswalks are an excellent start. If the opportunity exists to also create a traffic island at the Pine Street, Porterville Pine Street extension, hallelujah. Trucks and cars booking around that Porterville corner would be forced to slow way down long before they come to the stops at Girard. It can only be a win-win. And then there are comments about our recycling site and comments on our acting skills, which we will not disclose to the public. Next, my name is Lindsay Wheeler, reside at 158 Godfrey Terrace, East Aurora. I am against the proposed stop signs on Pine. Hello, my wife Tracy and I. This is from Mo and Tracy Gavin, 117 Pine Street. Have lived here since 1971. We truly appreciate the effort placed in attempting to address the increased traffic on Pine and the accompanying speed and disregard for the residents and their safety. We will not be able to attend the board meeting, but want to give our input towards some type of traffic calming measures. We are not sure what would be the best way to bring some of this traffic under safer control, but we know that something must be done, and the sooner the better before someone gets hurt. We will leave it up to the experts to decide the path forward, knowing that you share our concerns. Thanks for addressing this pressing need. Patrick Corzilius, 148 Stone Ridge Court. I recently learned the village is considering changes to traffic control near and including the intersection of Pine, Girard, and Lawrence. I became aware of it through community discussion, so I wanted to share my perspective. I am an East Aurora resident who's been driving through this intersection for decades. I have not seen anything that suggests this area is a problem, nor have I seen any academic report claiming such. If there is no clear need to alter it, I encourage the board to seriously consider not making any changes at all. Further, I ask you to carefully weigh the possible ramifications of unnecessarily changing traffic patterns at an intersection that the village is already familiar with. Thank you for your time and consideration. And finally, Kelly McGrath, who with her family lives at 760 Lawrence Ave in the village of East Aurora. After reading the village board agenda for tonight's meeting, I felt that I needed to speak up. I drive down Lawrence Avenue multiple times a day, taking a left onto Pine Street to go into the village. If there was a 4-way stop sign immediately upon turning left, I don't think any driver would ever be able to leave Lawrence Avenue and safely take a left-hand turn. I understand that this intersection is dangerous because my family deals with it multiple times every single day. I have 3 children, and my middle school kids cross from Lawrence Avenue onto Pine Street and then onto Girard Avenue every day when they are going to and from school, and I believe something should be done about this dangerous intersection. However, I do not agree with a 4-way stop sign on Pine Street and Girard Avenue. I believe a better solution would be to put a 4-way stop sign on Warren Drive and Pine Street and a crosswalk on Pine Street going into Girard Avenue. Thank you very much for your time and consideration, and thank you for all the hard work you are doing to support our village. And those are the comments that we received via email. Yeah, we just limit it to 1, really, otherwise we'll... Yes. I meant... But
She didn't hear you.
yeah.
Michelle Parrish. Just one other thing. I love that you had Dan come and do the traffic studies in the village. It was great. I was able to come to 2 of them. I couldn't come to the 3rd one. But he also brought up something. You said speed bumps are a problem with the plows. I get that. But he did bring up something that wasn't a problem for plows was the raised walkways, the raised sidewalks across the road. So that might be a thought for that whole intersection, Pine and Girard. Something to think about there. And I'm hoping he did look at that and came up with something. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. With that, we will move on to consent considerations. I'd like to pull 2 items here off of the consent considerations. One is item C, approval of a special use permit application for the Bank of EA at 649 Main Street. That we had a public hearing on. We'll pull that to have a discussion. And the next is P, appointing Karen Doinick to the position of senior police clerk to commence on or after August 3rd. We will pull that as well and put that into our new business.
Official consideration.
Oh, official consideration, sorry. And we discussed the consent agenda during our work session, so I believe there are no other issues to pull out. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus CNP?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Cameron.
Second.
Second by trustee Bojanowski. This is a roll call.
Trustee Elizakis.
Aye.
Trustee Cameron.
Aye.
Trustee Bojanowski.
Aye.
Trustee Camp.
Aye.
Trustee Vijay.
Aye.
Trustee Root.
Aye.
Mayor Wojcinski.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Now on to official considerations. Item A, approval for the police department to hold a National Night Out event on August 4th at Hamlin Park. Chief Welsh, if you have any comments on this?
Yeah, so National Night Out's a national thing. That's why it's called National Night Out. It happens once a year on the first Tuesday in August. We participated in this event probably more than 15 years ago. We just haven't revisited since. I'm not sure why we got away from it, but we did. Bringing it back this year with the will of the board, reaching out. We've already received enough donations from local businesses and residents to supply us with entertainment and needs, and really just looking to bring in our neighborhood agencies, the Orchard Park Emergency Response Team, East Aurora Fire Department, New York State Police. We'll have some canines, some drones, some of the cool toys that they have that we can't afford.
Shot received.
There might be a helicopter that comes. That's to be determined. Just a lot of interactive emergency services that night. We got some pizzerias that have already stepped up and said they're going to donate, and hopefully just a really good way for the community and the first responder community to come together and communicate and not maybe always be the site of something bad or a medical emergency. So we're looking forward to a nice night with the community. And the best part of it will be the dunk tank. And since the mayor won't be here, I'll go in the dunk tank.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for taking the initiative. It's going to be great to charge. I think we'll really get a lot of money for the dunk tank, for sure, per shot.
My goal is for kids to be able to dunk a cop for free, but if adults want to, they can donate a little money and we'll find a charity for that.
And a reminder that this event is being put on together with the Greater Aurora Development Corporation, where the sponsors are donating to. So, great. Any comments on that? Should be fun. Can we get a motion to approve the police department to hold a National Night Out event on August 4th at Hamlin Park?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Lazikis. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Vijay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Next up, permission for the mayor to sign a permit with Erie County DPW to install an all-way stop at the corner of Center and South Street, and open it for comments. By us. We did discuss this earlier in the work session, but, I mean, for the public, I think this stop sign, just to clarify, if anyone hasn't received the materials, both of these item agendas came out of a lot of public comments about traffic issues that are on these two intersections and near these two intersections. So we requested a traffic study to be done, speaking specifically Center and South Street, and received back the recommendation from the county to install an all-way stop. That study was done by the county because this is a county road, and ultimately they make the determination. And so they did the study, and we would be submitting a permit for that final approval. They have a team of engineers who determined that the site, when turning off of South Street, looking towards the south on Center, that there was not enough visibility, and that created a dangerous situation. So those were the grounds by which this stop sign was recommended.
Yeah, we discussed this last meeting, and for those who didn't catch up on it, the But we're broadly supportive of it. It happened right on the coattails of having Dan Burton out here to take a holistic look at the village. It was suggested that we pause for a second, get community feedback, both in this setting and also by reaching out to neighbors in the direct vicinity. There was very little input back on that one. You saw in this public comment too. This one seems to be much less contentious. And I do agree with the assessment for that and $2 to get you on the subway. But the experts, I agree with what they see. It's tough to see around the corner as you're turning left onto Center from south. I'm in favor of putting this in. I will also say once more, I think a lot of us are assuming a lot when we talk about the impact of these signs. It's all we can do, right? We're guessing at what this is going to do. I think this is a very low stakes area as opposed to Pine and Girard, which we'll talk about in a second, where we can try this. And if we find it's a nuisance, if we find it's generating noise and odors that we don't like, if we find it's creating too much backup on the north end of Center, we can reevaluate. Stop signs are relatively easy in, easy out. This would give us some evidence to go back to the county with and say, we understand a little bit more what the situation is now, and we actually think we overshot it, right? So I am very in favor of this. I think it's an easy solution for us to do. I think it's a way for us to gather a little bit more data and evidence about what the impact of these stop signs could actually be. And importantly, foreshadowing, I don't see this causing any additional concerns. I don't see this being necessarily making the situation more hazardous.
Yeah, so I ended up speaking to the traffic safety engineer that conducted the study. I did, and the main issue is the vision, the lack of sight when you're on south, trying to turn on Center, and with the daisies or the bushes there and the utility pole, those would have to be essentially removed if you wanted to circumvent not having a stop sign. But also, after talking with her about Dan being here and all the different recommendations that could happen, that county road is rather narrow, and so something like a mini roundabout wouldn't necessarily be feasible, specifically with the county plows that they have. We might be able to with ours, but the county wouldn't be able to. And so I think that right now also it's a good idea to put it there.
I think that yes, foreshadowing, we're probably going to be getting a lot of flack for taking out too many stop signs if Dan Burton's report comes as his final presentation. There are other things that we can do for traffic calming measures. Not all the answers are roundabouts. I think that one potential solution at this particular location is a gateway to the village that he spoke about, which might or might not be in that final report, meaning some visual clues that you are now entering a village and making it uncomfortable for drivers to drive at a faster speed coming in. So, but we'll see what that says. And I agree, it would be great if we had the study, the final report, and we could use that, but we are where we are. So I think this one is a clear agreement with the county's experts. We did post it on Facebook. We did send out code red notifications to those who signed up for code red notifications within that neighborhood. And we received one negative comment on this particular stop sign. So I believe that there was overwhelming support for this. So I
Just
am
a
in favor. Yeah.
quick question. How is there, I'm assuming we would have some sort of sign that says incoming stop sign, coming like X date.
I thought we'd get Pat to park there and just get
I like that idea too.
Yeah.
But at least that is something that definitely we make sure that, like, because not everybody is going to be a village resident, so you got to get.
Yep. Jeff, I think you know how this works.
Yeah, we would probably put up some message boards for a good 2 weeks before we open those stop signs up, just to give people warning.
Perfect.
I think I've seen before too, like the little yellow triangles that say new stop sign ahead or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yep. But I think message boards for a good 2,
Yeah.
maybe 3 weeks would
Okay.
be a wise idea.
Great.
How many message boards do you have? Okay, so it would probably be both sides.
Yeah, but those are also spelled out in the report that came back from the county, that if we wanted to put those in, they're listed as guidelines and requirements.
And we use that, when it first goes up too, we use it as a community education. You know, I encourage the officers not to go out there and just start hammering stop sign tickets, stop people, point back, hey, there's a sign there now. Well, you know, you'd be surprised at the people that are like, wow, didn't even see it. Been doing this for 60 years, right? So we work on educating, just like the four-way stop with Oakwood and Olean when that went from 2 to 4. You know, there was a grace period where we try to educate folks before punishing.
Yeah, we should probably send sort of a reminder to the community out too, right before back to school. That's before a bunch of parents suddenly hit that for the first time if they don't drive that way otherwise.
Good point, yep. All right. Does anyone want to make a motion to permit the mayor to sign the permit with Erie County DPW to install an all-way stop at the corner of Center and South Street?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Cameron, I think, that was you?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, second? Second by deputy mayor Root. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Next up, we have item C, permission for the mayor to sign a permit with Erie County DPW to install an all-way stop at the corner of Pine and Girard Ave. Just the background here is similar to the stop sign at Center and South. We requested the study be done by the county's engineers. They came back, and the reasoning for the stop sign here was also a site issue that was mentioned by someone here, that when pulling into or out of Girard onto Pine, the visibility to the right is not sufficient. So that was the reasoning for the study, and it was recommended to install all-way stop at that intersection. So open it up for discussion. This one is clearly more tricky. There is other considerations, including Lawrence, including the curve that comes out, including the use of the Pine Street extension. So it is, in my opinion, more complicated than the previous item on the agenda.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of what was said, that the issues at that intersection are largely not caused by that particular intersection so much as by the stretches of Pine Street in either direction in Porterville.
Right.
And what this does to Lawrence is just untenable. Like, that's crazy.
No, there's a lot of calming measures that we have been exposed to and that I've learned a lot with Dan coming here. And I don't think a stop sign is the right one for this location. I think there's other things. I think it'd be a quick Band-Aid, but it would cause more harm than good at this point.
As several people said, but I just want to underscore, I am chiefly concerned that putting a stop sign there is going to make the situation more dangerous. I am sympathetic to the concerns that are there, and pedestrian concerns and crossing, very important to me. Surely something needs to be done there, but I want to resist the urge to just do anything because something needs to be done. I think pulling out of Lawrence, you're not going to be able to get cleanly into the southbound lanes, and I'm very concerned that traffic backing up north of that stop sign will be invisible to someone coming around the corner at Porterville. So this isn't an area where I'm more as willing to experiment and see what happens. I think the intervention here would be worse than the current situation.
Yeah, it feels crazy after years of trying to, get a solution from the county, and then we finally get something, and then we go, wow, this really isn't good enough. But sometimes that's the way it goes.
No, correct. And I think that's also worth pointing out. We do have this study that's in place. We do expect to get a report at the end of the month. I don't think we should close the door on what the county's brought to us and the cooperation they've shown us in the early going here. But I think we should pause for a second and come back to them with the report we're going to get, ideally in 6 weeks' time, and then have a more fulsome conversation about other opportunities that are there.
I think we should open up, the conversation with the county, just like trustee Bojanowski did on the last one, and have a conversation about these issues. So if anybody would like to take that on and talk to Gina about this.
Yeah, I'll take that one. That's fine.
Okay, trustee Camp?
Yep.
And then we can report back next meeting. That way we can express these concerns and see what the professionals have to say about them without rushing in. In that case, we will not make a motion on this item. Unless I hear one? Nope. Okay. And we will move on. Thank you to everyone for coming and giving your thoughts again. And our spouses may make us take up your offer on coming to your bedroom, depending on how long our meeting is.
Yep.
Okay, next up is item D, modify the election schedule for the village trustees to biennial even-numbered elections. This originally came from trustee Camp. Maybe you want to explain your original idea and where we're at and what this is about.
Sure. So basically, every other layer of government in New York State is now operating on even-year elections. I happen to see that happen, and in my naivete, being new to the board here, was surprised to find out we have elections next year. The long story short is that when we went from 2 years to 4 years in terms of term length for the mayor and the board, we did it so shortly before the election that it ended up causing the next election to go to 4 years, which has created a situation now where we have a 4-year term that started this year and a new 4-year term that will start next year, which would mean that we wouldn't have any elections for 3 years' time, which just feels unresponsive.
2 years time, right? Yeah. It would be the third year.
We wouldn't have elections from 27 to 30.
30
in the
would be
current
the
in the
next
current
election.
state.
Yes.
We would have an election in 2026 and 2027, and not again until
In the
2030.
third year you would, yes. Right.
Correct. Point being, long time, very, very quick, like we just went through this. Seems like not all that much may change before we have another election, and then a lot may change before the citizens get to say what's what. So that was the impetus behind this. We've asked the attorney to look into what was possible for us, and the solution that is available to us is that the next election next year will move to a 5-year term, which then gets us on every other year. So our terms who were just elected in 2026 will still expire in 2030. Next year's election in 2027 will be for a 5-year term, but after that 3-year gap will then be on an every other year cadence, even year elections. This is, again, this is not a rule that the state has passed that the villages are encumbered by. It does not apply to villages. But in our conversations when I first brought this up, everyone seemed to agree it just feels like better governance to give people a regular and a little bit more even say in who's leading the community.
Great. So we would have an election next year for 3 trustees for a 5-year term, and then the next election would be for the mayor and 3 trustees for a 4-year term in 2030, and then 2032, 3 trustees, and every 2-year, mayor and trustees.
Correct.
Which I think makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Any other comments? Great. Thank you to our attorney for the research. With that, a motion to modify the election schedule for the village trustees to biennial even-numbered elections.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Kemp, a second.
I'll second.
Second by deputy mayor Root. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is one that I think we've been waiting for quite some time now. Permission for the mayor to sign an agreement with NYSEG outlining the tree maintenance plan in the village. Went back and forth. As we know, this was a very prominent issue in the village. Going at speed, well, really, their contractors came through and were doing a lot of damage or trimming, whatever you think about it, to a lot of our trees in the right-of-way in the village. We held a number of different meetings, including before my time as mayor, and had a number of community activists and member of our tree board and General Foreman Stoll and Clerk Treasurer Drakis was a part of that. I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but came to a number of agreements. It took a little while for us to get those agreements into paper in a way that reflected what we had agreed to. But here we are, NYSEG has signed that agreement. We feel comfortable with the trim box, which has been significantly reduced. We do need utilities, so some trimming is necessary. We agreed to a schedule of expected trimming in the future. We agreed to have the tree stumps grinded, or ground, what's the proper term there? But, okay, what is it? Ground. By NYSEG or its contractor, and they are providing trees to replace the trees that they had removed with locations that we will determine based on what residents would like and where the trees were taken out. So I think it's, the full text is on our website in the materials. I really think it came out to be a great solution and can move forward with signing it. NYSEG sent over a signed version about a half an hour before our meeting started. Any thoughts, comments? Then with that, a motion to give permission to the mayor to sign an agreement with NYSEG outlining the tree maintenance plan in the village.
So moved.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Root, second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Cameron. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will be inviting NYSEG to attend a meeting in September to give a presentation on their program. We're also applying for a grant for an urban forestry management plan, which we'll have some information about by then. So in September, we'll dive a little bit deeper into this issue, but I feel like we did a great job for our treescape in the village here. Next up is item C from the consent considerations to approve a special use permit application for the Bank of EA at 649 Main Street to provide restaurant services when there is no venue booked. Yeah, if you want to come up, I think there were just a few questions on this.
I just had a question on outdoor live music. So during the restaurant, that's just going to be low ambient restaurant music, not outdoor band music.
Right, correct. Just background music, yes.
Okay, cool.
Which is similar to there's conditions on the special use permit for the wedding venue.
Right.
The same conditions are fine.
Because for the restaurant portion, ambient music.
Yeah, just.
That was my only question.
Yep. Do we want to make a motion conditional upon or is the application sufficient, do we think?
I think the application's sufficient. It just says ambient music. I just want to make sure there wasn't live.
Live music on filter.
So live music is limited to the number of times in the special use permit that was awarded previously.
That's something different. That's different. We already approved that.
Right. How many times per year, and those rules still apply, and
Whatever's on the existing special use permit applies to that, yes. But this is whenever whenever there's outdoor dining, there'll be some background music. It's not directed. I mean, if you look at the hours of operation, this is not, it closes by 9 or 10 o'clock. It's not a late bar night crowd or bands or anything like that.
Okay. Thank you. Get a motion to approve the special use permit application for the bank at EA at 649 Main Street to provide restaurant services when there is no venue booked.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
trustee Vijay, second by trustee Lazikas. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the motion P from consent considerations to appoint Karen Doinick to the position of senior police clerk to commence on or after August 3rd. I'd like to put this over to Chief Welch, say we're very happy to see this name again. And Chief, you have a few comments?
Yeah, so current police clerk Darlene Williamson plans to resign soon for the purpose of retirement. So to get ahead of that, we have recently conducted interviews. I believe we interviewed 6 or 7 candidates and then narrowed it down to a second round. And ultimately, I recommend Corinne Donig. I'm going to say Karen forever, but eventually we're going to get it right. But Corinne it's written wrong on the agenda. But anyhow, I recommend Corinne for the position, as you may recognize her from her time with the town of Aurora, and we're excited to have her join us.
Thank you, Patrick. No, this is great. I think it's great to see you back in the building, and we look forward to, well, not actually the building, but a neighboring building, but closer than the current building. So we look forward to working with you, and I just want to make it clear that I did see Corinne at an event over a pool dedication. I did warn her about what it was like to work in the police station, and she still is here today for the position, so we've cleared that out. Motion to appoint Corinne Doinick to the position of senior police clerk to commence on or after August 3rd.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Vijay, second.
Second.
Second by, who's got it, trustee Lazikas?
No, either one.
Either one.
One of us.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on to new business, there is a 30-day advance notice for a liquor license for the Roycroft at 40 South Grove, the Inn. If anyone has any comments that we'd like to return, let us know now. Otherwise, we'll let this go. This is the Inn with the new owner. Okay, if we're set, then we'll go to the next. Hamlin Park, a surplus and possible agreement. Steve, I didn't ask you, but if you are comfortable talking about this, you were working on this?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So the trees that were cut down, which consist of maple and oak from Hamlin Park, have some value and sentimental value. And so the tree board and trustee Lazikas were wishing to ensure that parts of them stay within the community and the value can be transferred for park activities and tree planting and things like that. And so the village has the Greater Aurora Development Corporation nonprofit, which is able to work with them and invest into them to get them to a point where they would have that value maximized. And so the proposal here is to enter into the agreement to donate the logs to the GADC so that they can further work with the tree board, trustee Lazikas, anyone, to determine what the best fate is. I understand there is a time issue that they need to be cut or something done with them, so we'll transfer them over if we do this. So the motion here is to give permission to the mayor to sign that agreement.
It's about
Sounds good.
25 logs.
Approximately, yeah.
Yep.
No.
We did reach out and ask the tree board for business plans and things like that to prevent the GADC. I think a lot of it is using it for something that people can have that has sentimental value as well.
Sure.
Right. A way to use the logs as opposed to just disposing them. There's a lot of good wood there for craftsmen, maybe even a bench or a table for a public space.
Right, using them for mantle or anything that's
Correct.
careful.
Okay. With that, can we have a motion to give permission to the mayor to sign the donation agreement with the GADC as in the materials?
So,
Motion by trustee Lazikas. Can we have a second?
Second.
Second by deputy mayor Root. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Next up, we have the Jet Food Truck. Jillian Micah fee waiver request for operating a food truck in the village without a permit. Want to come up and...
Hi, I'm Jillian Micah.
Dijon Hammond.
Hi.
We're the owners of Jets. And for the Heart of Music Festival, we had our food truck and we had participated last year. And I think there was a miscommunication by the individual who was running the music festival, that we did not need a permit. We do have obviously our Buffalo health permit. And we were like, should we back out? Are you sure? And he assured us that we were fine, I think was the language. And so we got that citation notice and we were a little confused because we had been told that there was no permit needed. When I called the clerk's office, she's, gave me the opportunity to speak tonight. But we had no idea. And so we do want to get our permit for the village and kind of work with your staff on, where we can be, where we can't be, and so on. But we're asking for a concession on the penalty fee.
Okay. Any comments? I think there is a past practice. We discussed this briefly before. There is a past practice to waive the fee for the fine with the agreement to enter into the permit. We do want to discourage this. There was another truck that we did not permit that had reached out that was not on the Music Fest application that we did not permit to go to that spot because they were not on the original Music Fest permit, even though they did have a permit for the Village of East Aurora. So it is a concern that we want to make sure that people feel comfortable that they know that the village has checked to make sure that the safety and health and, there's a fire element with these trucks. And so it is the village's policy to approve these permits, and we want to make it known to anybody that they are necessary. But it has been a past practice to waive the fee, the fine, if a permit is applied for. So.
It seems there's some good faith confusion here too. Liz, do you want to just clarify, as you did during the working session, the difference between food trucks and brick and mortar for special use permits? Or for this permit in this case?
Oh, okay. So the brick and mortar businesses that participate in Music Fest are subject to the regulations that are approved. So time, the music hours, things like that. Security, all of those things. The food trucks, though, any food truck that operates within the boundaries of the village independently is required to have its own food truck permit. And so any food truck involved with this event has to have its own individual permit. So that's, when I saw them at Music Fest, when they did not have the permit, we talked about it, and then I followed up with a letter, and we spoke to them, they spoke to the clerk, and here we are.
Okay. Yeah, I think just, in the future, there is that permit. Now you know, we've got it on record. Thank you for coming in. We'll make a motion, ask for a motion to approve the waiver of the fee for operating a food truck in the village without a permit, conditional upon application of an annual permit.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Camp. Do a second.
Second.
Second by trustee Lazikas. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is a violation notice and follow-up from the Heart of Music Festival for Riley Street Station. If Mr. Anthony Amabile is here, to come up.
Hi, Anthony Amabile, 27 Riley Street. So, I just want to thank you guys for, allowing me to speak today. Usually I come up here and some of you that have been here before, I don't usually make a list of what's going on, but there was 2 different events that we're kind of talking about, so I want to make sure that I cover all the points. I want to apologize for anything that I have done wrong. There was no bad intentions per se. I think that maybe one event carried on to the next, thinking that we're just trying to do something that we're not really about. We're not trying to make anybody upset in the village at all. We've only tried to promote positive impacts since we've been open the past 3 years. So, what happened with the East Aurora Music Festival this year, or the Heart of Music Festival, was it got down to that time where it was going to be ending, but we were really busy still. The last 2 years, rain started to kick in. People were kind of already dying out. I think this was definitely by far the busiest music fest that we've had since we've been open. What I mentioned, I saw a couple of the police officers walking through the parking lot, and I just asked them briefly. I said, hey, what would happen if, is there a possibility that we could maybe stay open a half hour to an hour later? And they mentioned to me that, because we signed a document that we were going to be closing at 10, music would be done at 9, that we'd have to shut down then and follow those guidelines. And I just mentioned to them, like, I didn't sign anything this year, which I didn't. So I never signed anything this year. Verbally, I agreed to be a part of the music festival, but I didn't sign anything. So at that point, they said, oh, okay. They're like, well, we'll go and check for you. So, Music Fest is going on. It is packed. Like, Riley Street Station is by far one of the busier venues during this because we have the bigger parking lot. So time's going by, and I was just waiting for them to come back. I made the motion, hey, let the music go on until I do get an answer, and I apologize for that. The next person that I saw after that was Liz Cassidy, and I saw Liz inside Riley Street, and she said, Anthony, you need to shut it down now. It was bad timing because I'd just seen a buddy of mine that I haven't seen in a long time, and he was there, and he just grabbed me, and so he wanted to get a drink. But then right after that, I did shut down that. The music was shut down. It was 20 minutes after it was supposed to be shut down, and then everybody was out. There was no one on the premises by 10 o'clock. So it was shut down by then. Do you want to say something?
I'm a little confused here because I think that there was some further intervention that was necessary after you spoke to the code enforcement officer. Is that inaccurate?
What was that?
The lieutenant had to come and speak to you after you spoke to the code enforcement officer. Lieutenant Waldron had to come to speak with you after the code enforcement officer because you had not agreed with her assessment of the situation.
No, I'm pretty sure that we already started shutting everything down. The music was already shut off. And then they said that we had to shut down, that we had to get everybody out. I was already planning on having everybody out by 10 o'clock.
And I'm confused here. You said that you had not signed anything. Were you not aware that you were part of the Heart of Music Festival?
I just didn't know that, when they said that you didn't sign anything. The intentions that I had was to not let hundreds of people leave right away all at one time, and then they're all going to go fill a bar right next door at one time. I know maybe that's not my concern. It was explained to me afterwards that they were going to handle that situation if that became a problem. It was just, I asked a question.
You had said here that you didn't sign anything, though. I'm just asking, were you not aware of the 10 o'clock end to the Heart of Music Festival, that you were a part of?
Yeah, no, I was aware of it. I made sure that we did end it at 10 o'clock. There was no one in our parking lot by 10 o'clock.
So your intention when you were speaking with our code enforcement officer and the officers was to shut down by 10 o'clock. You just did not portray that information.
No, what happened was I asked if we could stay open a half hour to an hour later to dissipate some of everybody leaving from the rink and Riley Street Station all at one time.
And when the answer was no, you accepted that?
Yeah, I accepted that answer. It was shut down by 10 o'clock.
And so the not signing something, where does that factor in here to the conversation?
Well, they just said, what happened was the officer said to me, because you signed this document saying that you were a part of Music Festival, that you needed to be done by, you needed to follow the protocol, 9 and 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock music, 10 o'clock, pull the drawers, shut down the place.
Was there music going on after 9 o'clock?
It did. It went to 9:20. When I saw Liz, I went back outside and I told him to turn the music off.
Because we're under the understanding from our lieutenant that our lieutenant had to come and speak to you after Liz.
No, it was just timing wise. That's all it was. It was just bad timing. Again, we've never had a problem. We just had, the St. Patrick's Day Festival this year. Every protocol was followed. We've had multiple music fests. Everything was always followed. It was just a matter of, we were packed, like slammed. The parking lot's filled, the inside's filled, and I just asked a question. And again, I'm apologizing for those 20 minutes that the music played longer.
Yeah, it's just concerning. I mean, our law enforcement agents and our code enforcement office works really hard that day, and it's difficult to protect the public and everybody. And we just want to make sure that they're respected and that their decisions are respected. And we have spoken with them, and their version is different from the one you're portraying today. And without getting into a he said, she said, we want to make sure that you understand that the rules that are set by this board, that were not set by me personally, need to be followed in order to ensure the safety of the community.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's no disagreements with that at all. And again, like I said, I sincerely apologize for that. And also, what I've worked towards, because there is a lot of everything on me personally on that day, because like it is a bigger venue, it's a bigger place. Everybody's looking for me, and I've put in 2 managers who I believe that are really going to take a responsible impact on Riley Street Station. Or, it's not just going to fall on me, where someone could go and speak to a higher up that's not just me, especially on that day. This was Phil's first year there. I think it was just bad timing of somebody trying to look for me and making things happen. And again, I apologize for what happened on my part in my decision making on that evening.
Any other questions?
Were we just discussing Music Fest? We want to discuss this?
Music Fest first, yeah. Nope. So I guess what is really concerning about this as well is that there were further violations on the July 3rd parade. Do you want to maybe address those?
Yeah, sure. So I do think, I think that there's just there was just a bad look from Music Fest that kind of portrayed onto this happening, especially being that law enforcement was called to take action. I think that this could have definitely been avoided because we were never notified that we were not allowed to have, because currently, since I've been open, the rink and Riley Street Station have a shared parking lot kind of an agreement. It's a verbal agreement. There's no written agreement unless there's communication prior to that. I received no communication, my staff received no communication that we would have to somehow block off the rink's parking lot before that, okay? I think my understanding is that the rink believed that we would just not be busy or maybe closed. I don't know. We've never been closed on July 3rd. We weren't closed last year. We weren't closed the year before that. I do believe that the rink or the road was closed around 3-4 o'clock in years prior. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I believe so. That's why it may have seemed that we were dead, because usually we have a lunch crowd between 11 and like 2:30ish, 3, and then we get really busy around like 5 to like 8. We were busy on July 3rd the last couple of years after the proceedings, but we received no communication. So
the issue here, right, is that you were serving food outside.
Nope, we were not. We weren't.
Yes, you were. You had the hot dog stand at the sidewalk. You had a tent with food, serving trays, and grill, and you were serving hot dogs at the sidewalk.
One of the issues here that we want to be clear about is that we had a parade with elected officials that were standing right by Riley Street Station.
I was just like a chance just to explain myself on this. That's all. Because I think that we're just getting a really bad look at what we try to do here. So we try to provide stuff for the community. Every event that we've had for the community, we've put those same chairs underneath that tree. We did it last year. No one said a word. The year before, we did pass out snacks last year. We had extra hot dogs, chips, and water from Music Fest. So we had no cash box outside. We were not intending to sell. We were going to give out free snacks and free hot dogs to the community and water. We did have a DJ that was supposed to be underneath our awnings, but it was too hot, so they were 20 feet off so that people could roll around. It was providing free music. We weren't trying to do anything. Those cars that were parked in the parking lot for that, why the police was called, was not for that DJ. It was not for, there was nobody sitting underneath the tree at that point. It was my general Friday night dinner service.
So you have a DJ outside on Friday nights?
No, we don't. We just did it, I'm just letting you know that that's not why we were busy.
Well, it doesn't matter to me whether you're busy or not. It matters whether you had the proper authorization to be doing what you were doing and understand whether you had it or not and what was the outcome here. So whether you were busy or not, you had a DJ out front and were not selling food, you're saying?
We were not selling food outside. We weren't. We didn't sell anything last year. We didn't sell anything the year before. We had some extra snacks that we were going to pass out. Hot dogs, waters. We wouldn't make anything much off that anyways. That wasn't the point of it. It was just something for the community, that's all. There was no servers out there. There was nobody out there. Like that would. There was no extra staff inside my building to go out there and then work out there. That was it. Like, that's what it was. We were just going to give out some hot dogs for like an hour. That wouldn't do anything to increase our business, or it was just something for the community. We do plenty of community events. We do tree lightings and give to the Boys and Girls Club. We hand out gift cards to every charitable event in East Aurora. I don't know one I've said no to, honestly. So that's all we were trying to do. I think there's a bad outlook from Music Fest. And again, I apologize for that if I broke rules. There was no bad intentions here to do anything wrong. The people that were outside lining up and the bands, they enjoyed the music we were playing because the band was playing with it, and there was people outside dancing and enjoying it. There was nothing else in there. There was no party in the parking lot. There was nothing like that.
I mean, I think there's a failure to recognize here that you are not permitted to have that music out there and to sell food in the parking lot.
I didn't sell food. I didn't sell any food in the parking lot.
Or to hand out food, right? I mean, I don't believe there needs to be a special use permit for those activities. You have one for live music, right? You know enough. You know that you wouldn't be able to go in your parking lot today and have live music and pass out hot dogs, right? You were playing music, you didn't have the permit. Now, how egregious was that infraction? That we can talk about. What good you do for the community, we can also talk about. But I think we need to understand, was there a violation that occurred here? And it seems that you're admitting that there was. We can pass it over to the chief or the code enforcement officer. You were also there. You don't have to add, but if you do want to add something to either event, more than welcome.
So activities like that, whether or not you're selling in that space outside of the building, when there's music outside of the building like that, when you're setting up tables and chairs in parking areas and things like that, would require a temporary use permit at a minimum, just so that the village is aware of what's going on. And I understand that July 3rd in and of itself is a very different thing, but those types of activities would still require a temporary use permit for the day.
I want to be clear. We want our small businesses to survive. We want to support small businesses. We really do. But we also have a duty to protect the public, and we cannot have entities, people breaking the rules that are set to protect them without some sort of consequence. That's why we have police. That's why we have a code enforcement officer. That's why we sit here and make rules and policies and procedures and ordinances. Chief Welch?
I just want to outline that we have so many restaurants and so many bars in this village that don't have issues. That if they have a question, they reach out, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? If I personally can't answer it, I always have Liz, hey Liz, we have a question about whether or not an establishment can do this or do that. And they plan ahead of time, and it's thoughtfully carried out, or it's thoughtfully sought out, and we have a ruling long before. What I've seen lately is, let's do something and hopefully we don't get caught. And that's what happened here both times. And both Liz and myself were involved in both instances. And I would like to be sympathetic, but you can't come before the board and beat around the bush about the fact that there was intentions there to violate permits, whether it be Music Fest, whether it be the 3rd of July. And it wasn't that you didn't know. It's that you intended to violate your permit and hope nobody found out. And that's exactly what happened here. That's what happened on Music Fest. That's what happened on the 3rd of July. And I just want it known that we do have other establishments that follow the rules, that if they have a question, they find out about the rules, and they obey what their permits say they can do.
I hear you on that, Chief, but I have to say that I did not intend to break any rules and just try to get away with something. My thought process wasn't that way. And I think maybe more along the lines of the Music Fest, I could see your point more on that. It was more of a question of I asked and I didn't get the answer back, and and I did stop it. Time got away from me. But again, if anybody that does know me on this board that's been here, I've never tried to break rules or cause any bad intentions. I've only tried to make something. better of, what Riley Street used to be and make it better and provide for this community the best that I can. So, again, I truly do apologize if you think that I was coming off with bad intentions here. So, that's what I
When you were informed that this was not permitted, this second incident, did you put the hot dogs inside and remove the DJ?
Yeah.
I mean, how long between when you were informed? Because we had to leave for a parade, but it was still going on when we left. The parade was going.
It was done. No, it was done before the parade went off. The hot dogs and stuff were put away within a short time period. I mean, I was also handling a busy restaurant at that point. It's Friday night. I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things we were trying to get at here, and I didn't witness this, I'm not aware of the details, and I can hear in your voice that you're sincerely trying to do something nice, and there are questions about how to do that the right way. One of the things we want to underscore, and it's about the larger conversation about Heart of Music Festival too, is that the reason behind these permits is so we understand how the village resources are being used, right? So even if you're trying to do something nice, when we're not prepared for that, it puts an additional strain on the chief's officers, puts an additional strain on Liz, puts an additional strain on the community. And again, I'm not saying we got a ton of noise complaints. It's a great day. July 3rd is my favorite day of the year in the village. It sounds like you're trying to do something nice with extra snacks. All of that sounds great. But we have to follow these processes because it's our responsibility to make sure that the village is prepared for that entire day. Not just what's going on in your parking lot, but what's going on across the whole village.
And I completely agree with that. And, moving forward, I have no problem, and I would like to be given the opportunity to amend this and ask questions going forward to make this right. I don't have any bad intentions. I also do have a little bit extra help underneath management at the restaurant now, which I think will help me out because I do try to run. I'm actually opening up my second chiropractic office this past week. So, I have now 3 locations of different business, and I have a newborn, or now he's 14 months, and it's just been a lot of stuff in this past year where I may have came up with that idea on the fly and thought, hey, let's just do this. And you know what? I hear you guys on your point, and moving forward, it won't happen again. That's really all I can say. And again, I really do apologize.
Any other comments? Questions? I think we just want our employees to be respected, and we need, our partners in the village. We do want to see you thrive, but we do want to make sure that our employees remain respected because the decisions that they have to make are very difficult, and the rules that we have to set are done for a reason. So thank you for coming in. I think we can let you go back to the floor.
Okay. I just want to say, anybody that I have made feel like they're disrespected, I really apologize, and I look forward to moving forward with better business here in East Aurora. Thank you.
Any further thoughts on this, or are we?
It seems like he's gotten a good understanding of where we're at, and I would anticipate that he's going to reach out for more support and help on further applications and anything outside of his existing permit. And then if there's further violations, we'll go from there. But I think this is a pretty big warning, and I think he'll learn from it.
Yep. Okay, we've got it on record, so we'll move forward from there.
No, yeah, I agree, and I think this is, I don't like what I saw for sure, but these are 2 very recent things. This is the first time I think we've had an issue with Riley Street. So that seems like you're taking it seriously, and I'm, looking forward to moving forward, getting everything kind of tightened back up to where it was, and should be smooth sailing.
I think the next step would be to amend your special use application to kind of rein it back in, and I don't think you want that to happen. So
Can I add one more thing just real quick? I just on that about maybe just touching base on my special use permit. It was said in the letter that I did receive that we were only allowed to have 1 to 2 musicians with acoustics on the patio, and I don't believe that was part of what I sent in for my special use permit, and that, I guess that is now what it actually is. And
That's what we discussed in the meeting,
in the meeting
when we approved the special use permit.
3 years ago. Okay, because I'll be honest, that hasn't been happening. There's been more than 2. It's very low amplitude, but it's very conservative. It does not go past 10 o'clock. It's either 6 to 9 or 7 to 10. But I have not had one complaint over the last 3 years now. And I've also had elected officials that have been outside of my patio for these bands on Saturday nights having dinner. And it's never been brought to my attention that I've violated this before. I don't know if I'm confessing to something or not, but I'm not trying to. I just maybe think it's something that we should probably
You'll want to
look
amend
into.
your permit.
What's that?
You'll want to amend your permit then.
Okay, so, but we've not had any, I do have bands booked the rest of the summer, so I don't know how we can amend that sooner than later, but I don't know what's the.
It sounds like a good opportunity to reach out to Liz's office with questions.
Yeah, basically, I mean, owning a business, I know, is extremely hard, and I have a lot of things going as well. The way we think about it is if we're gonna have a poster and we're gonna promote something that is not a normal Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, most likely, we're gonna go to Liz's office and we're gonna do a temporary use permit because it is not within our normal scope of our special use permit.
I understand that, but, so we've had music almost every Saturday for the past 3 years. It's the same type of music. There's nothing different. We just had it this past Saturday. We've had music out there every Saturday. It's low amplitude. It's not 1 to 2, but it might be 3 or 4 musicians. I didn't know
So I mean,
that's.
correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like he's just been getting away with it, and now code enforcement might know about it. So I would just be careful.
Well, I don't know. Then I guess, if I'm wrong, I'm just trying to be honest here, that's all. So I'm sorry. Again, when I submitted it, I didn't know that it changed from, bands on the patio to only 1 to 2 acoustic acts. So I appreciate you, let me know that, but I don't know. So I guess
I mean, I do think the proper course is to submit an amendment to the special use permit or request to amend.
Okay.
To understand, put it before the board. But if your special permit allows 2, that's the regulation.
Okay.
And I know Liz would be willing to help you work through those options too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, next up, Heart of Music follow-up, Chris Welsh. Chris, want to come up? And here, other than the issues that we had spoken about here, just a conversation about how the event went and your thoughts on this and moving forward and how we want to have that relationship. So I'll open it to you. The year has passed, the event has passed, you've had time to reflect. How did you feel the cooperation has been?
Yeah, I think from all perspectives, I think the event went really well.
Okay.
I think I will 100% own the Jets Bagel issue. I thought they were operating under a tent versus a food truck, so that was my poor interpretation of that. So that shouldn't really reflect on them, that was on me. Just misinterpreting that.
They would have had to been listed on the permit anyways, whether they were a tent or
I thought they were on our
truck.
permit.
They were not.
Oh, I'll double check that. Then that's definitely on me. I thought I had them on there as a tent.
I'll open it up to others, I guess. Anybody have any questions or? I think in general, we need to start very, very early thinking about next year. We are going through a review of the village resources that are given to the event. It is taxing on the village. And
I think from a village resource standpoint, it's probably one of the most profitable uses of the resources for the small businesses in the village, because this is a tourist town and it brings a ton of tourists into these businesses. So I think, yes, it is a tax on those resources, but is, in my opinion, a massive profit for the businesses that pay the taxes to pay for those resources.
What was your profit this year?
We don't make any profit. We donate everything.
Where did you donate it to? I remember in the permit we were looking at earlier, you said you were going to donate 60 to 70% of the proceeds. Where did you donate those?
That will take place July 29th at the rink, and the board is more than welcome. We invite them every year to come.
Kind of short notice.
We just finished everything.
Great.
Have you in the past provided reports on the end of the event to the board or anything?
No.
Have there ever been any audit rights of the organization?
I mean, we've never been audited, and all of our tax returns are public record, so it wouldn't be hard to look. And our donation ceremony is public every single year, listing exactly how much we donate.
I agree with you that there is a positive benefit for the businesses, but it is our duty, of course, to understand the burden on the taxpayer as well. So we will be looking into what that cost is, because I think that's certainly a discussion. Not every village resident goes to the Music Fest, certainly benefiting from the business, and I get your argument, understand that, but I think we just need to get an understanding of what our costs are for this event. And to take a look at the donations that are going through your organization as a board, right? We can talk about all these issues. We have been speaking with other communities, both here in the United States and abroad, about the events and where there is a successful relationship with larger events like this. There are a number of different ways that we can support, and that we have been supporting and we continue to support. But that relationship can be reviewed. I think that's only for a positive for the community. So what we'd like to do is put together a committee, not after the summer, to get together and start talking about this moving forward, so we get well ahead of the issues and can get all these issues out.
And just for clarity, so every large-scale event in the village is going to go through this same audit, not just the music festival? So we're going to...
What do you mean
Is
by
there
audit?
another event that's of your scale?
4th of July parade, the car show. There's a few events that are large scale. I guess if you want to pick and choose where you cap that number, I guess you could pigeonhole it into a single one.
I don't think those are similar events at all. The car show, number one, I think the DPW, what do? Put up a barrier on one end and the other end, and you're stretching across the whole town. You're using a lot of resources of our police department, the DPW, barriers, overtime. We charge other organizations that come in here to do things for those sort of resources. We've denied people that are private entities. I understand you're a nonprofit and you're giving things to our local business, but we've denied other events for that reason, because we're outlaying, and not a large percentage of our population is deriving the benefit. So where you could argue that
population benefits.
it does
I'm gonna bet
benefit,
like that.
but at what cost to us? So I think that's what we're trying to get at. We put out a lot of resources and a lot of time and a lot of energy for a lot of people.
And I think that cost is offset by all of the businesses that are able to continue to pay their business taxes and continue to donate to other businesses and entities within the village from some of those proceeds, because I do think...
Then I don't think we're going to have an issue getting to a point where we're able to say that to the community.
That's what we want to know.
Yeah.
If you're confident with this, then you should not have any sort of negative reaction. We'll get this information out and more support from the community.
But it is cautious. I think anytime a government entity digs too deeply into anything, it's a bit of an overreach.
Overreach?
I said too deeply. I didn't say at all. I said too deeply. There is a healthy amount of interaction that's there, but digging just to dig, I think, is a little aggressive.
All right, so
do you feel do you feel that that's what we're doing right now?
I feel that it has the potential to become a slippery slope into that, yes.
All right, so we'll have a full conversation about it. I think what we're surprised about is your comparison between your event, which is clearly the largest event with the longest duration in the village every year, and other events that are hosted by the village that use village resources, that have a clear line of sight into how they benefit from them. We expect to have a full conversation about that.
And I'm perfectly fine having the conversation.
Great.
But I do want to be careful that this festival is not placed under a microscope and held to a standard that is not outlaid across the board.
I think any event that's as large as yours that comes into this town would be under the same scrutiny that we've held that event, your event, to. I don't see anyone on this board changing that one iota.
But I think what we're looking for you to understand is you're one of one in the village.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is one of one. But I also think what it does for the village is one of one as well. Like, I fully understand the concerns. We, every single year, any and all concerns brought up by the police department or the fire department or any of the other entities, we address and do our best to address. We've never once not made our best effort to accomplish those goals, so it's not like we refuse to work with the other entities in the village. I don't think Chief Welch has ever asked me for anything that if we could provide it as a festival, we didn't.
I mean, I don't think there's going to be an issue there, because we have residents that are coming forward who are complaining about the resources that they're spending, and honestly, I really hope you're right. I think it's a good event. I think businesses do benefit from it, but we don't have that answer. I don't know how much you're donating this year. I don't know the exact figure of how many village resources we put in. I don't have those answers. And so to get to a point where we do have those answers, and there are other things. I came from a different municipality over to the village where we did have those answers. And we have very good relationships working with large festivals and smaller festivals. But we were able to give the answers to say, this is the benefit of the community, and we, as elected officials, stand by our decision to provide those resources to this organization in order to hold that event, because in a cost-benefit analysis, the benefit is greater than the cost.
This event has donated well over $1 million in the last 12 years to charities in and around East Aurora. That is on public record.
The Heart Music Festival has been around for 3 years, right?
The Heart Music Festival is just a name change to and a complete continuation of East Aurora Music Fest, which everyone's well aware of. All we did was change the name to mark a changing of the presidency. The event is the same 501c3 with all the same everything, just a different name.
You are willing to have these conversations with us, or are you saying you do not want to?
Oh, I'm more than willing to have conversations.
And good. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments? Thank you. Okay, opening it up to speakers and communications. If there is anybody who'd like to speak on any item for the village board, now is the time.
Do I have to reintroduce myself? So
Yes.
Jerry Thompson, 162 Pine. Something earlier, and this is, I know it's been a long meeting. People were concerned about, and they continue to be concerned about, the Hamburg and Quaker Road traffic. I happen to own the quarter there. If the board begins to look at those studies, I would strongly encourage you, the first thing you should do is look at the double light. Oftentimes what happens is we're placing traffic impediments in the way, that then backs up the traffic. I sit in my office every day and I look at a car line coming out of Delavan Electronics at 4 o'clock that backs up past Sammy's Car Wash. And people say, it's Mill and Quaker. It's not. It's Hamburg and the alleyway, Boys Alley, the 2 stoplights. Cars hit the first one, they get stuck, they get to the Tim Hortons one. All it takes is somebody to jam it up by not going to the right turn lane, and then you have traffic that backs all the way up to Quaker Road. When it's back on Quaker, it then backs up the traffic on Mill, which then makes my life miserable because I have people that take a left turn into my office and come flying around the corner to try to take a shortcut where they get jammed up in the additional traffic. So anything you guys to begin to have that conversation would be greatly appreciated. And I think it's about where it's starting. It's not where you're seeing the bottleneck. It's the double light near Tim Hortons. So, thank you.
Thank you.
That in the intersection, there should be a circle.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close that. Department head report. Mr. Stoll.
So we had our first cardboard drop-off this week. We got about 13 drop-offs, which almost filled the dumpster. This week we are working on getting ready for the big sidewalk sale, burning weeds, striping all the parking lines on Main Street, and setting up all the detour signs as well for the 3 events coming up this summer. And that is about it.
Knows how to clear a room.
What's that?
He knows how to clear a
No, a
room.
lot of good energy there. Jeez, Jeff.
Netflix is
You
calling
give the
me for a
microphone to Chief
documentary.
Welsh before everybody leaves.
Netflix is also calling me for a documentary on my acting skills. Cardboard documentary, recycling, so I'm working on that.
Jeff, all I can say to that is no, no, no.
No, no, no.
At the police department, we've, both you and I, the mayor and I have begun discussions with Robin Drake, our grant writer. Last week, New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services did release the details on their law enforcement technology grant. They've outlined our agency for being eligible up to $125,000. It's not an automatic approval, but unlike the last time this grant came out, now this time they actually tell you ahead of time what the max is. So we're hoping to come up with plans to replace what is now an aging body camera and car camera system. Former Chief Krieger instituted that program a little over 10 years ago, and we're still running a lot of the same hardware as when he first put it in. So we do have to look at that. A little bit of sticker shock with that. Camera, body camera, car camera system to get a new one, about $275,000.
Oh.
So the 125 gets us started. But obviously, as you know, in the police world today, that equipment is necessary. So more to come on that. Just know that we're working on obtaining that grant. Been busy. I've been interviewing for police officer. As you saw on your consent agenda tonight, losing another police officer to retirement. I swear it's not me. They're just ready to go. So working on replacing that position as well. The most recently hired police officer, Tyler Baker, that you approved a couple meetings ago, is progressing well in training. You'll see tonight also in your consent that you approved DeLacy Ford for their bid for 2 new police cars. That bid did favorably come in a little bit lower than what we anticipated. And with that, we also have 10-year-old light bars that are aging and starting to show us some failures. So that little bit of wiggle room will allow us to replace light bar and control box on the new police cars as well. So we're happy to see that bid come in a little bit lower than what we thought. Beyond that, I've been working with both AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, working on checking for signals. All the internet in police cars has historically been covered by a federal grant that's disseminated down through the county. That federal grant, for whatever reason, is ending at the end of the calendar year, and the county is going to be passing on the cost to us. So while we're in the market to take on those costs, I want to look and make sure that we're getting the best coverage as well as price, because a couple of those carriers I won't name aren't very good in East Aurora, and some of the other companies have invested a lot more in their 5G infrastructure here, and we always want to make sure that our cars have the best signal when they're out in the field and need that information. So working on finding out the best one to go forward with that. And with that, that's all I have.
Right, noted, right, Deputy Mayor Root, that Foreman Stoll and Chief Welsh have gone through all of their activities over the last 2 weeks, and apparently there were not any other memorable activities that they'd like to mention, so good to note. Code Enforcement Officer Cassidy?
Gotta leave something for you.
Just a couple things. The first is that on April 6th, the board enacted a 6-month moratorium on self-storage facilities. I know we are a little bit of ways from when that would expire. So I'm looking for a little bit of direction from board members on how you feel about keeping that in the code, eliminating it from the code, moving it to a different section, setting some other regulations. Or you don't have to take any action at all, and that moratorium would expire, and then it would just be a permissible use in the manufacturing district. So if you wouldn't mind emailing me your thoughts, I would appreciate that, so we can start to put together whatever changes the board may want to see.
So timing-wise, sorry, do we need to extend the moratorium, or
Not currently.
not currently? When is it up?
It'll be up in October.
Okay, so we have some time to, but it'd be a local law that we'd have to get ahead of.
Right, public hearing, all of that. So we want to just keep it on in the forefront of our minds as far as if you're going to take some action on that.
Yeah, thank you.
The other thing is that Historic Preservation would like to make a couple of clerical changes to their code. One is the way that the code is currently written, it just talks about a historic district. It doesn't identify local versus national registered district. And so there can be some assumption about it being covering both, our regulations covering both national register and local districts. And if Mr. Sorgi was here, he and I have the conversation all the time, the code's not clear, the code's not clear. So we want to clarify that and make sure, and put that in. And then the other thing was they want to change the number of members that they have, because they are currently experiencing issues with quorum. So they want to change that verbiage as well. So we're gonna put that together with HPC and then bring that and propose that to you. It's not a significant change, but it will just make things easier for them to operate and to get that information out to the public.
Great.
And that's all I have.
Anything from our guest for tonight? No? No? My engineer, anything?
I noticed a clip they had earlier today about the police still talking fluid, so there's progress on that.
Yep, I saw it about an hour or two before the meeting, an email came in. Yeah. We'll send that to the board. Yep, thank you. Okay. Clerk Treasurer Drakus?
The auditors are here. Yay. My favorite time of year.
I made fun, it was so loud the next room over.
I know, aren't they quiet? They don't know what to do with our office, I don't know.
Trustee Nazikos, we'll start with you.
I'm all set.
Trustee Cameron?
All set, thanks.
Deputy Mayor Root?
We took a little field trip to Niagara-on-the-Lake to go visit, hopefully like a little sister city up there. It was fantastic. We went over kind of their beautification efforts that they do right there in the historic district. Kind of where it starts, how it branches out, what they do as far as planters and trees, community events right there on their main strip, as well as just kind of their pedestrians. They lean really heavy into tourism. We heard a lot about that. We just need to recognize that we need to kind of rein in ours, but it was a great visit, and I think we've made a lot of great connections, and I'm looking forward to speaking to Victoria about their chamber and how they do their outreach with their businesses and just kind of the dialogue they have with them.
Yep. Trustee Leger, we'll go with you next.
I'm all set tonight.
Trustee Camp?
Just a brief update. We talked a few months ago at this point about meeting with the state DEC on deer mitigation efforts. The town is taking the lead on that, but we're picking the conversation back up this Wednesday with the hope that we'll be able to come back to the board at the end of the summer, early fall, when those mitigation efforts would start to work. It's a quick turnaround from the DEC. They tell us once we understand how we want to proceed.
Any way we can import deer that eat weeds and not roses?
We could look into that.
Please
We could
don't.
look into that. Maybe like a different breed of deer.
Trustee Bojanowski?
The only thing I have is that I will be emailing Liz specifically about something that came up that was an interesting thought in the ZBA about fences specifically and how their height and based off of, trying to lift above the ground for the weather, and then that is like, if you measured that piece, yeah, it's 6 foot, but then up with that extra space, it could be larger than it, and I was just gonna see what we can, if there's any, just start the conversation. So be excited for that, and then we can also talk about self-storage. So 2 birds with 1 stone, and that's it.
Great.
Bricks, one stone.
Okay, good. I think World Cup watch party was great. Garden Club, congratulations, 100 years. We gave a proclamation to their event. The pool, Kiwanis, recognized 60 years. Congratulations to them as well. Niagara on the Lake was lovely. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Root. And I've had a bunch of housing meetings, doing quite a bit of research, and I thank our partners for meeting with me. And with that, motion to adjourn.
All right.
Oh, DRI, yep, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had Maureen is ready to
I'm
leave
sorry, I
here,
gotta
so.
go.
We'll
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about the
go.
DRI at the next meeting, but we had state representatives to work out, and we're working on the DRI program. It was in the advertisers, so encourage anybody to read, but we'll talk about that next time, so our clerk treasurer can out of here. So motion to adjourn,
So moved.
trustee Camp, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Bojanowski. Now, conversation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Have a good night.
Oh, my